What's going on, guys? Rob at 3STRONG here. Today we have the bar on the ground because I'm going to show you how to do deadlifts. In another one of my videos I talked about deadlifting, but I focused more on the Romanian deadlift where we're actually starting from the top down. Today the actual deadlift in its purest form, untouched in its natural state, is actually from the ground, pulling the bar from the ground, coming all the way up to a standing position, and then bringing the bar back down. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of deadlifts, you've tried them, you've loved them, or you've tried them and you got hurt, or you haven't tried them and you're just scared of them because you don't know how to do it. But the deadlift is pretty much one of the ultimate weightlifting movements because it requires so much energy and it's really, really demanding. And for most people, this is going to be the heaviest lift. You can handle the most amount of weight on the deadlift, but it's a great exercise to not only work your back and essentially the whole back side of your body, you know, out to your hands, but all the way down to your glutes and hamstrings. And that's really where we want to focus most of the lifting power, is the big glutes and the hamstrings, but we need to get our back locked into place before we can do that. I'm going to go over the key positions and then come up with some ways to make it work for you if it's really difficult to get down into this position. So I'm a short guy, so it's easy for me to do this, but if you're taller and you have mobility issues, then this might be a problem. First thing, we're going to start with the feet. Once that bar is on the ground and set up, you want your shins pretty dang close to this bar, almost touching it. Notice how if I push those knees forward, my shins are touching that bar. This is important because if we get set up too far away to where now it's out towards the toes, I can push those knees forward, and notice how I'm turning this into a squat. This is not a squat, this is a deadlift, so forget that form, this is completely different. Pull that bar nice and close to where now, if I show you from the side, notice how my shins are actually almost vertical. My knees are pretty close to behind that bar, which keeps the weight back. Now I pull myself down into this position, keeping that nice flat back. I grip that bar, get tension back, squeeze the butt, and lift up. I don't arch back, I squeeze my butt to come to full lockout, okay? Back down, I'm pushing my butt back. Notice how I have that nice flat back. Once it comes down to about the knees, so butt back, knees are back, knees are back. Once they come down to about the knees, then I start to bend slightly to get back down into the ground to where I'm close to that vertical shin position. Again, let's reset, get those shins close to vertical, get that weight back, don't drop the hips, keep the hips about halfway between the shoulders, or at least somewhere between the knees and the shoulders. We don't want to get above them or below them or the same level, somewhere in the middle there. Get it nice and tight, squeeze the abs and the butt at the top, and then push that butt back on the way down, and then we're all the way to the bottom. That's the basics of the deadlift. That looks pretty easy when I do it, but the mechanics can be a little bit tricky. Here's where it can go wrong. If I don't have the hamstring flexibility, and I start to go down, there's a point where my hamstrings limit me. So then for me to get that bar down to the ground, I would either have to do one of two things, or heck, just both. I would have to push my knees forward so my hamstrings don't get any more of a stretch, or I have to round my back to get down there. That's not what we want, especially if we want to lift heavier and heavier and get stronger and stronger. If you have big rubber bumper plates or anything that you can elevate the bar, what you're going to do is put those down on the ground, and you're going to put the weight, let me move that back, you're going to put the weight on top of that plate. So now, when we do that deadlift, we've gotten ourselves into a better position. So if we get set up now, notice how that bar is about 4 to 5 inches higher. If I was keeping that flat back and then all of a sudden I got down to that point where I can't reach the bar if it's on the ground, now this elevated position will allow me to do that. Another option, if you're in the squat rack and you have the spotter bars that are, those are those horizontal bars that goes on the side of the squat racks, well, you can elevate those to a certain point and do rack pulls. Still get yourself set up in that good vertical shin position, pull yourself down to that good posture, squeeze the abs and butt, and stand up. Right there. Those are your options for the deadlift. It's not a scary movement. It's an awesome movement. So give it a shot. And if you don't have the flexibility, you don't have to not do deadlifts. Just elevate it either on plates or in the rack and have some fun, guys. See you tomorrow.